Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host. Actually, we're your hosts. This is Ali the Persian. We got Steve up here. This is Game Time Grind. Welcome to a brand new episode. We are live on a couple fronts. You can follow us here at 4th and 10U. Follow our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. You can also follow us on TFTG or even on my X or 4th and 10U's X channel. You can follow us there. But make sure you subscribe, like the show, and turn on the notification bell. This is going to be a great one. I know we just had our regular weekly episode on Tuesday, but this episode had to be done with this crazy amount of roller coaster news that keeps pouring out. Yeah, I want to say it was like, what time was it? Like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, Steve? And it was just one after another. If it was a boxing match and I was the defender and I'm getting attacked by news, I was getting hit in the face over and over and over again. It was knockout after knockout. It was crazy, wouldn't you say?
Most definitely. It definitely was a shocker to the world of college sports.
Yes, it was a shocker for some of us, not all of us, but some of us, it was definitely a shocker. I've been kind of saying, I said it way early in the off season before even college season started. I said that this could be Sharon Moore's last year as a Michigan head coach. Like, his time is ticking, right? I said that here with a different host. And I know I've said it in the spaces previously as well, before all the Michigan sign stealing scandal and everything came about, right? We talked about it there. But the stuff that has come out is absolutely nuts. And I just can't believe it. Shout out to Lewis, my homie, who is in the chat. Shout out to Lewis. Make sure you guys go and follow Lewis and Tony at the Blitz Pickup. I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but I kind of will a little bit. Next Tuesday, we will have special guests here on 4th and 10U. It's a festive blitzing event here on Game Time Grind. So definitely watch. We're going to have several guests that I have invited. It's going to be a great time. We're going to talk the college football playoff, the matchups. We're even going to talk a little bit about some other teams as well. So I cannot wait. But today's show is specifically about what's going on in Michigan. It is absolutely horrendous what I have learned, some of the stuff that's going on. And some of the stuff you heard about it through the grapevine, which I'll talk about and how I heard it. But it's just unbelievable. It's mind-boggling. So let's get started. I'm going to kind of give you the timeline of things, and then we can speak on it, Steve. Or do you have something to say you want to talk about it before we get started?
No, we can start with the time of events. That way we can speak as we go.
All right. So for people that don't know at home, Michigan's head coach Sharon Moore was really well known for the time period when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach at Michigan. He filled in for 4 games and went 4-0, most notably beating Ohio State, right? And when the whole Jim Harbaugh breakup happened at Michigan after winning the national championship, they named him the head coach, right? It was all ramping up. They were all thinking this guy is going to be the guy to lead them to the promised land and everything. They even went and got arguably the top QB recruit Bryce Underwood this year. It was really, ramping up. And another year goes by and they beat Michigan again, beat Ohio State again, right? So he's 2-0 versus Ohio State at this point. We go through the whole sign stealing scandal and everything. He was very famous for the person that had like 40 some texts. It was like a ton of texts between him and Scallions, which is the guy that really kind of figured out the way to steal the sign stealing math and all that. And he erased all of his texts and everything before they could investigate because they had to turn in their phones. And when they recovered the texts and everything, he famously said, "I was just so mad that someone could do this at my school that I just didn't want to see it anymore, and I deleted it." That was his excuse, right? So personally, I think, on a side note, that he was more involved with that sign stealing scandal than what it even came to light and what we know publicly. I think he was, personally. Later on, rumors started to pop out going into this offseason that he was doing some nefarious stuff with some staffers. It wasn't the first time I heard of this. That's why when it finally came out, I wasn't really surprised, so to speak. It was the events that led afterwards that I was more surprised with. So there were some rumors about it. I know there was some Michigan reporters or people in the media that put it out there. Even went on various different YouTube outlets and stuff and spoke on it. And then, from my understanding, they investigated a bit. The HR did. They didn't find anything that was, wrongdoing or anything, and so they said it's all clear. And then in the last 48 hours, my understanding is someone came forward, and this is where the craziness happens. So someone came forward, provided details and proof and everything. And they decided to depart ways with Sherrone Moore, the head coach of Michigan, with cause. So for people that don't know what that basically means, if it's something that was detrimental to the program, or something such as this, having a inappropriate affair with a staffer or someone that's below him, technically, in some states, there is a certain legality issue here. And it's a way that basically they can part ways without having to pay the rest of the contract to the head coach. And I want to say there's $12 million that they're saving because of this. I think that's the amount that he still has left on his contract. So they announced that they parted ways. And then, from my understanding, I want to say an hour or two later, there's a report that there's a disturbance at one, I guess the girl that he had the inappropriate affair with's home. And then you find out an hour later after that, he's been arrested. And I guess he was making threats to harm her as well as himself. So these are some of the things that have come out. We're not really sure on what everything that is absolutely factual. So I'm trying to give you what's been reported mostly by mainstream media. But there's a lot of speculation going around in the internet. It's been crazy on Twitter. You saw some of the things I was sharing that people were saying. It was nasty work. Let's just put it that way. Anything, have I gone wrong on any of this timeline stuff so far, Steve? Steer me.
Nope. The only thing you left out was because of the just cause, they didn't just save some money, they saved $13.9 million. That would have been his buyout for any other reason.
13.9. I said 12.5 million because I wasn't sure about the amount. So thank you for correcting me on that. Okay. So yeah, it's 13 in some $1 million. So definitely, I appreciate that, Steve. So they have currently, as we sit, from my understanding, they decided they weren't going to necessarily announce what the charges are yet against him, and he's currently in jail still. That's what I understand, in the county jail that they have there. So that's where things sit now. So there's been a lot of questioning on the timeline of because this is what's been reported. People are saying that Michigan knew about this weeks ago. In fact, when it came out from certain Michigan reporters, and I say Michigan reporters, I'm talking about people that report to mainstream media, beat writers and such in Michigan, reported this a while back, and went live on a YouTube channel and made the accusations that this is legit, this is being investigated. So the fact is that we supposedly knew about this long time ago. How do people in the media know about this in Michigan? And from what we've heard from Michigan and what people are saying is like they just found out about this maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? What is the truth? Has this been going on for a while, or was it something that they just found out about? What do you think?
I think it's something that they've definitely known for a while. The why they waited for so long to put it out, I have zero idea. I mean, there could be any list of ideas, being petty, putting them in a position to maybe have the most information as possible before they made this decision. Maybe there was some, because like they fired him and then he went on this crash out. So I wonder if this was a boiling pot that they were trying to get as far ahead as they could, and then things kind of turned south last minute, so they decided to pull the trigger on the firing. Maybe maybe they were just trying to keep this under wraps till they got the next guy for the job ready to go. Who knows? It's all speculative, but they've definitely known for a while. It's not like it's just one person. There are multiple individuals that he supposedly had affairs with. So this has been an ongoing thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's from what I understand. And please know, what I'm about to say is really it's allegations. I don't know what is to be fact or false. I can just tell you these are some of the allegations that have been reported in mainstream media as well as several reputable outlets. What we're being told is that it was several different affairs or even subordinates that may be involved. I was even told that he supposedly one specific person he did impregnated and even paid for an abortion. These are some of the accusations. And like I said earlier, there's some legality question in regards to having an affair with a subordinate because of the balance of power. For example, one being more powerful than the other, from what I understand, that you could use it for certain advantages, which I guess that part of it is what makes it in question for legality reasons. I don't know the whole laws and everything. One person was reporting that it's illegal in every state. I don't know if that to be true or anything. So that's why I'm just saying there's some question about it. So yeah, that's just all crazy, right? And I think what mind-boggling to me is when did they announce this to the players? We just had early National Signing Day, right? When did they find out, right? When were they notified, and when, what's going to happen to these players? One notably, there was a tight end that they already released from his signing to Michigan, which is actually kind of surprising because he's one of the better recruits that they had in their recruiting class so far. 4-star tight end Matt Ludwig has been released from signing with Michigan. That was reported by Rivals. So that's the first domino to fall. Will Bryce Underwood leave? What does this mean for the players, Steve?
I mean, it puts them in some kind of turmoil. If nothing else, they now have no head coach. They now have to figure out what the program's going to be in the next phase, because now they got to bring in a new head coach. Or are they just going to elevate a guy from inside? Like, some of these kids are going to be going to the NFL. Some of these kids are now probably going to be looking for transfer portal because it's, you're kind of left in the wasteland. I feel like I feel like it should be said. I don't want it to come across as if we are judging or attacking this man for his own personal choices. I want to make that clear. Everybody is due to their own individual things in their life. It's just this affects the college world as a whole. That's why we are talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think I'm talking about it more so because it does affect college football. It does affect these athletes, and the decisions. Signing with a team and being a committed player to a team, that's life changing. That's life changing not just for the athletes, but the parents and the families that are involved, as well as the people that are on the other side of that, the schools and the recruit, anyone that's part of the recruiting department for you, and the coaches and everybody. There's so much involved when it comes to college sports in general that things like this can make or break it. It can make or break it for the player just as much as the coach. So that's kind of like why we're talking about it. So for me, it's more like I understand now that the coach has been let go. I understand that they have at least 2 weeks. I've heard up to 30 days, but I'm not sure about that. I'm going to say at least 2 weeks to kind of make a decision if they want to, enter the transfer portal or not. I know Bryce Underwood, there's a lot of people were saying that, he's already said goodbye because of what he put on Instagram, and he already took Michigan off his Instagram, and that he's headed towards the transfer portal. But then another report says that him and his family have decided they're going to wait to see who Michigan hires before they make a decision. I think that's fair. That is fair. However, do you still want to? I still question the timing, because you can't tell me that they didn't know about this before early National Signing Day, right? They had to have known that there was evidence, accusations, something. You can't tell me stuff like this happens under one of the most biggest college football programs in the nation and somebody doesn't know, the AD doesn't know about it. You can't tell me that, Steve. What do you think about it?
They 100% knew. I mean, again, like you said, it's an odd time to release it, but also, is it odd that they wait until after the commits are committed and signed to the school? Then you announce, hey, we had an issue with the head coach. You're here. We want to let you know it's still stable environment. We have our next guy. But to release this before early signing day, we would have seen probably similar to what we saw when, and not to take it there, but with when Hardline moved, right, to USF, it would have maybe caused a pause in some of the bigger names that were signing to the school. So this way, they're signed, they're committed. You're on that track, and now you can reassure them, like, yes, we already knew, but we're trying to get into a good, stable spot so that there wasn't turmoil with you guys signing, and we can move forward with your development. This is who the coach is going to be. And as far as we know, they could have also been privately pushing this to the kids too that were committing. Hey, you're committing to us. Do not say anything. We're going to have some changing from the head coaching perspective. This is what we've got coming forward for you. Because again, from all intents and purpose reports, it sounds like they have a plan behind with the next head coach.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I think that I get what you're saying. You and I talked behind stage that they probably have a plan and they're sticking to it. That's fine. It's just that we just got done looking at what Brian Hartline did. 6 hours into early National Signing Day, he announces that I'm going to be the head coach of South Florida, right? Comes out, tells the world this. He tells the recruits that have already said verbally that they're going to sign with Ohio State, and created this big chaos, right? It didn't. Those players took a step back, decided what they wanted to do, right, and they eventually signed with the teams that they said they were going to sign with. this is kind of weird because instead of telling the people before they signed, they waited. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm a family and and my son is going to go to your school, I gotta personally worry or wonder: are you the right people to take care of my kids? You know, I'm going to live 1,000 miles away. Are you going to take care of my kid in the time of need? You know, you got to wonder about those types of things. If they're sneaky enough to do this type of shenanigans and wait after the period, right? Are you you know, are you going to be able to trust them is what I'm asking. And I get it, the players will have an option to switch schools still, but their options, though they can enter the transfer portal, right? Their options can still be limited. And the reason I say that is because those other schools that may have had real interest in him, that he would have been their second choice, may have decided to go a different route and may no longer be interested or have enough scholarships to give. Do you see what I'm saying there, Steve? Like, does that make sense?
It absolutely does make sense. And I was looking up 8 recruits decommitted from Michigan during this cycle.
Wow.
So I wonder if it does kind of go to what I was saying is I wonder if the schools quietly inform some of the more well-known players or bigger players coming into the program that there might be a head coaching change.
All right, Steve, special guest. We have a special guest in the back, and I'm going to bring him up. He has a question about recruiting since we are on the recruiting subject when it comes to Michigan. Okay, so we're going to bring him up. Everyone give a round of applause for Color making his debut here on Game Time Grind. He's never been on the 410U network as far as I know that he has. But how's it going, Color? Welcome to the show.
Pretty good, Ali. Steve, how you doing? Good to see you on the tailgate, man.
Yeah, what's up, Color?
Yeah, we're live on all fronts, Color. 4th and 10U, the tailgate, even on X, we're live.
Yep, and you know, I mean, Steve and I have debated before in good faith, and he's a good faith interlocutor. Even though I think he's wrong half the time, but you know, but he definitely doesn't fail in his logic. So good listen, Steve, and good to see you around the tailgate. I did have to say that I did have to remind everybody there is currently a hurricane warning in effect for the college football playoffs, and everybody knows it. But the question I had about recruiting, in of course with the college dynamic, I don't know how it's changed with the portal and the NILs and the fact that these players are now basically professional football players and can go wherever they want, whenever they want. So I know it changes the recruiting dynamic, but what, like, isn't it the coaches at these schools that are pretty much in control of all the recruiting and, you know, glad handing the families and all that stuff? Like, are there any real, like, are there actually recruits right now, or or are we just talking about the guys that this coach was already working with? You know,
Like,
who might want to be, because like the new coach may not want a single person that this guy's been working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to say like recruiting has different levels to it. If you don't mind, Steve, I'm going to
kind of like the GM is what I'm saying, where you can't really expect any of the guys there now to be there because a new coach coming in is going to like change the whole dynamic is kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, Steve, do you want to go first and then I'll go? Because I do have a take on this.
No, you know much more than I do right now. So this is wild wasteland for me.
So recruiting, from my understanding, there's different levels to it, Color. Not only does your head coach and his team and staff do their part of recruiting, and they have certain types of players that they like to go and grab to fit their system. Schools have their own recruiting program as well, that they're involved with. Even if they have a new head coach coming in, they have a staff that works directly for the school, not so much the head coach as well. That's how they can stay in the game of recruiting. That's how they keep tabs on, in particular, their in-state recruiting mostly. If
right.
you understand,
right, I guess right, exactly. Like who's interfacing with these recruits now that this whole shebang went down.
And until they hire a new coach and he brings in his new staff, most of the old staff is still there. Like, for example, in this case, they have an interim head coach that was already there. They have their defensive, all that stuff is still intact at this point.
Well, I would just be concerned as like a player, how it is, like from having watched, like, I don't know how it really compares to fantasy, but like, like movies like Jerry Maguire, where it's like you kind of get an insight of the players and their families and what they're waiting on and all that. And
it's
like they, you know what I mean? Like they could easily just flip and just say, oh, I don't trust nothing going on there because I don't even know who's this defensive guy or who's this scout shaking my hand. He ain't the coach. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the teams that are mostly the head coach generally isn't meeting with these kids so much. They have a whole, just like in the NFL, right? You have a whole scouting department who handles.
Right. I'm just imagining like the Nick Saban dynamic. You know what I mean?
Well, in a little piece of context too, of those 8 players that decommitted this year, Ollie, 7 of them were 4-star recruits.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a lot. Right. Here's another thing, Steve, just to add into what you're talking about. Most of the time, recruits, when they're meeting with officials from the team, it's mostly either position coaches or other people that are part of the recruiting scouts and stuff like that they meet with. When they do finally meet with the head coach, usually it's not, I would say it's not all. They'll have an in-home visit from time to time, but the one time that they generally meet the person for a big photo op is when they come for an in-school visit. That's where they're going to.
So the bulk of the players are like 3- and 4-star players anyway. It's really the 5-star players that the coaches are out there in front of. So you don't even know who those guys are going to be until a new coach comes in anyway.
That is true. Yeah, definitely. Another
Most of the 3- and 4-stars are like, oh my God, I'm glad that their recruiting department is even talking to me.
Yeah. The part that I'm really interested in finding out how it works is how do they negotiate NIL deals? Is it just like an agent to team type of conversation like they do in the NFL? Is there more to it? Do they have like a collaborative meeting? Like
whoever is providing the NIL would probably have to go through the school. Like, in other words, if I was a car dealership nearby that wanted to sponsor a player, that wanted to give a player an NIL deal, I'd probably have to like go through the school and register with all that, and like all the money goes into probate and whatever else. And
from what I understand, there is some like it's. They get brought to these players because players have like individual agents sometimes. Like it's not like a pro agent. They have like a college agent, and that's how they'll like negotiate for their NIL.
Right. That would be the guy that actually interfaces to the car dealership on the player's behalf as well.
See, exactly. Steve, I guess the big question for me is this, and I'm going to use your school as a prime example. You informed me today, which we'll talk more in length about this next Tuesday. And shout out to Lewis, who will be there, who can really comment on more about it too. In that situation where there was a grant approved that they could infuse the athletic department of University of South Florida, with more money to be able to use. When different foundations and stuff donate money to the school to use towards NIL, how does that get negotiated to the player? Is it all through the school? Maybe is a representative school to saying, okay, we took all these donations for NIL. This is our fund, our war chest, and we're going to negotiate that. We're going to figure out how much this player we want to offer him. Let's say it's a Jeremiah Smith, to give you an example. Are we going to offer you $4 million and this, sign here? Is that how that works? Or do they negotiate with the school? Do they negotiate with the foundation on top of it? Do you know how that works at all? Maybe not.
I don't have a clue. Again, according to what it was said, was it was a committee that approved the money. So I imagine there's a financial committee that it goes to. Then it goes to whoever's in charge of recruiting, and then I'm sure during the recruitment, it's probably asked, "Yo, what's the money look like?" And they can give them probably a idea of what the NIL money is going to look like. I don't know personally. But that is a very good question.
Yeah, definitely. Color, I hate to burst your bubble, but there's a comment here that I think you should read. A&M by 10 plus points.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. That's Lewis. You know, I love my brother. I can't. What can I say? He believes what he believes. But it's okay because if we go down to a team that basically is wearing my high school uniforms, I think I could probably handle that.
I understand what you mean by that. You got the same uniforms.
Everything is the same. The colors, the scheme, the maroon on white, all the way to the big T on their helmet, right? And instead of A&M, if you replace those letters with L and W, that was my school.
I gotcha. Color, I actually hope you guys win. I think you guys can win.
A&M also tried to recruit me in high school.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know about that. That's pretty awesome. For me, I think Hurricanes win, just so you guys know that. And I personally, I can't wait for that because I want that rematch. So we can put it to bed. Fine. We can put it to bed.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. See, Lewis, you ought to be with me and Ali rooting for the Canes against the Aggies because, man, the more epic failure would be for you to revel in would be us losing to Ohio State. That's really the matchup you should be wanting to see, man.
There you go. And the other thing is, I don't even mind. I'll let you guys bring your own referees, Color. Bring your own referees, so then we can just
Ali, I don't even care about the national championship. I know the Hurricanes probably ain't going that far. You know what I mean? Like this whole college football thing is only because that is a rare opportunity for us to settle our unfinished business. You know what I mean? And they only come if we make it to the playoffs because Ohio State ain't going to play Miami in the regular season anytime soon.
I got you. But anyway, any more questions before we move on to Michigan? Because that's really
I got to run, Ali. I got some work to do, but I just wanted to come up and give you all some love and support the show.
Hey, Color, before you run off,
yeah, man, you guys, I don't get enough college football talk, so it's good that I can find it right here at home on the tailgate. Hit the like button, everybody. Much love.
Steve has a question for you. Steve has a question. Go ahead,
well,
Steve.
Right on.
It's less of a question, just real quick. I was doing some reading while y'all were talking. So apparently the school and the state decide how much money each kid can have for NIL deals. So it's actually like state regulated.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, and again, I see Von Moscato's in the chat. Vaughn, Joe, Greg, you get all these people that never come by my show, bro. Like, what is up with that? You've been doing the PR work on Twitter, man. I guess I can't stand that place. I just can't stand Twitter, dude. It's no offense to the spaces and the guys that are in it, and it's not even that space per se. It's just
for me,
Twitter
it's everything else on Twitter. It's everything else, not the spaces or the people in it. It's everything else.
It's so aggravating to even be there, but that's okay. Y'all do a great job. I see Back It Up Binge coming in, but also make sure you're checking Lewis out and Tony over at the Blitz Pickup. They do a fantastic job over there too. And Lewis, I know I've been sending Lewis like in my group text or whatever, the little statistical charts that I've been making in our studio when it comes to some of the NFL statistics and all that. And I just been spamming his text with him, figuring, well, if you want to use this for show material, but then I think some guys hate stats over there. They don't want nothing to do with that nonsense, but I'll keep sending it because some of it's very insightful. Like when it comes to the amount of things you can drum up, and not to get off subject before I leave real quick, the amount of stuff you can drum up, Ali, in our studio when it comes to like whatever you can imagine, like whatever angle you can think of, you could just think about it and like code it out in our studio to tell you exactly, and set up a little spray chart or whatever to show exactly what you're thinking of. It's insightful, man, and it's quite a useful tool. So look for more of that stuff coming out over here at the tailgate. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're over on Twitter, it's not your fault. You can come over here to YouTube and hit subscribe to the channel.
All right, Color. Thank you,
have
man.
a good night, guys, and have a good show.
Thank you.
Again, Color.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, Color. Appreciate you. That's awesome. Had Color on here. Haven't had Color yet on this show, so I appreciate him coming through. But yeah, I definitely, it's definitely interesting. This whole NIL era is really interesting. I wonder how they come up with these deals. We talked about Bryce Underwood earlier. On3 put out an article about how there's no buyout clause. So essentially, from my understanding, if he leaves, he can take all that money with him still too. Like, it's not like they can buy him out of the contract for a lesser amount, like you were talking about, Steve. So that is some interesting stuff too. Some other news came out. People were speculating that the AD from Michigan was about to get fired. Ward Manuel. Ward Manuel has been rumored in the offseason prior to the sanctions that were put down for the sign stealing scandal. He was rumored to wanting to look into opportunities of being a president of other schools. Most notably, I heard it was Florida he was interested in at one point. They voted against hiring him, so that didn't actually happen from what I heard. But Yahoo Sports is now reporting that he will remain the athletic director as the school begins a search for its next head coach. That is really interesting, Steve. With all of the, and I hate to say this, black eyes, I would say, that Michigan has taken over the past couple years, I don't know if Ward Manuel is really the guy for the job anymore. People like praise this guy, but I don't know why, because if you look in the past 3 years, it's nothing but been scandal after scandal. Even before sign stealing, you had scandal after scandal that Jim Harbaugh had. Like, they had the whole hamburger gate, or the time he went and spent the night at a recruit's house, the things that you're not supposed to do in recruiting, right? That was kind of weird when Jim Harbaugh did that. And then in addition, there was a whole scandal with the basketball head coach. There's that issue that happened. And then on the flip side, there's a rumor. I need to look further into this, but there's actually some sexual harassment allegations that has to do with the hockey team in Michigan. So this athletic director has been running, I'll be frank about it. In my opinion, it looks like a disgusting circus show. That's what it looks like, Steve.
It is definitely, they got some stuff they need to figure out there. But as, not to go towards that direction, but as a Dolphins fan, it's what we've seen. It's not that surprising from Michigan, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I mean, we have if people don't know at home, the ones that are just college fans and don't really follow us on the NFL side, we live in a community of Dolphin fans, right? And our own pro team, we've had our sores and scandals and stuff that happened. And our owner is kind of connected with the Michigan program, right? He's one of their biggest donors, to give you an example. And knowing the fact that he's dabbled the waters in this type of fashion with scandals, it's not surprising that you see Michigan dealing with that, or vice versa, to be honest. So I see the connection there. I just think, for me, Michigan being one of the top biggest programs in college sports today. For me, you can't have this happen, man. You're running one of the supposed to be one of the top notch programs. No, you can't have this. Yeah, they gotta do something to clear house, get rid of all these bad apples, right? And build it back up, because I just can't see you thinking that this is going to continue to work by, slapping these guys on the wrist and say, oh, don't do that again, and just letting it go, right? The NCAA let you go with the whole sign stealing scandal. If you really want to look at it, yeah, they got fined pretty heavy, but they didn't get any black flag like they should have. Other schools did lesser than what they did, and they got the black flag. I don't get it. I personally think it's because Michigan, like I said, they're one of the biggest programs. They also bring in some of the most money to the NCAA. And I think the NCAA couldn't see a world where Michigan wasn't involved because of the money that they bring in. What do you think?
I mean, that's true. I will say, like, this specific instance, I don't think's as crazy, because again, it's not like he got fired because the state came down and was like, you got to get rid of him. Like, he broke a rule about, having, extramarital interactions with members of his staff. Like, it'd be different if, like, this was a situation where he was messing with recruits and doing some, like, staying at their houses, like you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this specific thing's only so radical because it's Michigan. I don't know how much big news this would be if it was at, like, some small school that nobody cared about.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it's the latter part of what happened after he was fired that makes this even bigger news with the why he was actually arrested. So
go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you.
I was just gonna say. So we'll see what turns out. I don't want to. I don't think it's such a big deal because he had an affair. It's more just the fact that he broke the rules, which is what got him fired, and then what he proceeded to do after the fact happened to be met at a church by the police.
Yeah, and then on top of it, Steve, I mentioned some of those scandals that they've had, right? I forgot about a really big one. That in fact, Sharon Moore was with the team at this time that this other individual was involved. The whole Charlie Weiss thing. If you don't know, I believe he's the one that got arrested by the FBI. I think he's the one that was he hacked into one of the largest healthcare databases, and he was able to use that information gathered there to hack into social medias and take copies of inappropriate photos of different athletes and their socials and everything. I don't know if you remember that. That's another scandal that happened under that AD's nose. Do you get what I'm saying? And I do understand what Lewis is saying in the chat, that my owner would never be in such a scandal. I don't think he would ever be in this type of scandal. I agree with that. But let's not, there are some scandals we've had with our team. Not at this level, nothing like this level. I'm just going to say that for sure. So yeah, it's nuts. Go ahead.
CCR, yeah, he was arrested at a church. He supposedly had an incident at his home, and then he went to the home of the individual that he got pregnant, and then he left there, and his wife was able to track his phone to a church where the police met up with him.
Yeah, and that's the one part I forgot to mention. Sharon Moore is a married man with children, right? That just adds another, I would say, layer to this whole craziness. And I feel bad for what she's going through, his wife and the kids, and how this is going to affect them. How are they going to be able to go out in public and face people knowing that what he did? You know what I mean? It's going to be nuts. And so what if he was getting fired? Why did you go down this route? Even if they fired you for what they had cause for, right? Why did it escalate to what it happened and you getting arrested? You know what I mean? even if maybe he had an argument about it, like something that proved his innocence, that maybe somebody is getting out, at least go to a panel where you can speak your piece and say, hey, this is my side of the story. What I was going to say, on First Take, I don't know if you watched First Take, but you had Adam Schefter talking about the whole timeline of things, and they were asking him questions. And what's his name? The old guy that always covers the SEC, Paul Feinbaum, I think his name is, something like that. He seemed to get kind of testy with Adam Schefter about the fact that Adam Schefter said that the one person we haven't heard from is Sharon Moore. And we need to hear his side of the story before we can really pass judgment. I kind of agree with him. I do think what we know as of right now, it's really crazy, and I'm leaning a certain way. But I do ultimately, before I can ultimately pass judgment, I need to hear from that person first. And then I can have both sides of the story, right? And it just seemed like there was some weird interaction between Paul Feinbaum and Adam Schefter on the show. And then who's the other guy that it was on there? Clark, I think is his last name. I think Clark was on there. He was, you know who I'm talking about, Steve?
You talking about Ryan Clark?
Yeah, Ryan Clark, I think it was.
The safety.
Yeah, Ryan Clark was on there, and he was saying that he feels this whole situation is going to affect other people that want to line up for these types of jobs. It's most specifically black coaches in college football are going to be hurt by this. I personally, for me, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, there's a ton of other black coaches that are very respectable, right? Marcus Freeman, for example, of Notre Dame. He's a respectable head coach. Maybe not so much the Notre Dame program and the AD right now and how they're going back and forth with the ACC. I get that. But Coach Freeman is still a very respectable person. There has been other college coaches that have been very respectable in college football. I personally, if I'm an AD, I'm not looking at it that way, that just because the actions of this man would make me judge you a different way. I understand there, unfortunately, may be people like that. I just hope the University of Michigan and other schools won't follow suit into those types of people, if you know what I mean. I personally don't think so. Go ahead, Steve.
I agree. Again, I wouldn't even try to presume to understand how that would affect anybody. Like, I think this is one of those situations where his ethnicity shouldn't take any bearing towards anybody else. This was one man and his own personal life. Again, as I stated earlier, this is a personal decision in his life that the only reason it's even news is because it's a big school and what happened after the news of him being fired.
Tony says that Ryan Clark just be talking sometimes. Yeah, you might be right. It was kind of weird because, to be fair, they were talking about who the next head coach would be, right? And then he immediately went to this when they thought he was going to give a take on the coaches. So it was kind of a weird take, to be honest. But I completely understand where he's coming from, right? And unfortunately, there might be a small group of people that might be that type of people. If I was running the school, I would not. I'm going to judge you based on what you've done professionally, your knowledge of the game, what could you bring to the table. That's how I'm going to judge you. And I just hope University of Michigan and other schools keep it that way. And that's how it should always be. Shout out to Tony. I don't know if Lewis told you he's going to come on our show. I hope you're there, Tony. We really want you to be there on Tuesday. Check us out next Tuesday. We're going to have a blitzing edition, and there's going to be quite a few special guests. I cannot wait. It's going to be a good time. Talk about the matchups into college football and some other news that's going on with college football. Make sure everybody hits the like button. We have over 82 people watching on all fronts right now, Steve. So great turnout. What else do I want to say here? Yeah, I understand. Some people are saying that it does affect some coaches, some black coaches. Unfortunately, I definitely agree. I think it does, but I'd hope not. I'm hoping that this doesn't. That's just me personally. Let's go back to the Michigan and who the next head coach would be, and who do we think the right fit would have been. Um, I'm kind of on board that the perfect fit, if it was me, I wouldn't have waited to now. I would have fired him previously. And maybe if I'm looking to upgrade, a Matt Campbell might be a guy, right? I like Matt Campbell. Some people, and here's another guy who I would like more than Sharon Moore, because I am a fan of Marcus Freeman, for example. He's a name that people are throwing around now as well, because some people feel like he wants out of Notre Dame. What do you think of that? Marcus Freeman being the next coach of Michigan.
I mean, it would definitely be interesting. I was looking up is it Sports Illustrated put out their 5 candidates that they believe would be the next head coach. One that you said to me earlier, Alabama's head coach Kellen DeBoer. Is that how you
A
say
lot
it?
of people think that's a possibility. Yeah. Yeah.
Missouri's head coach Eli Drinkowitz.
Yep.
Michigan's head coach, which you also said, Jed Fish, Brian Kelly, and Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State. So
yeah, Jed Fish is actually a coach at Washington, I believe, but he was with Michigan previously. So that's the connection there. I think if you're going to go for the home run, you want DeBoer at this point. I don't, to be honest, Matt Campbell definitely made sense at the time. But I don't think Matt Campbell would get up and leave Penn State like that. That's just not going to happen, right? Some people think, and some people are saying that this position, anything's on the table. So who knows? It could happen. DeBoer, I want to say, is the most. If you're going to swing for the fences and there's a possibility, I think he might be a guy. And people are going to say that's a hot take because it's Alabama. I just know that what I've read and what people that I trust have said is that DeBoer wanted the Michigan job really bad previously. If he wants the job still, maybe he feels Michigan, he can connect better because he's actually more from, I think he's from like Idaho or someplace like that. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, think about it also this way, right? Alabama just got embarrassed. What happens if they get embarrassed again? This in the next game against Oklahoma, I think it's Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Like, could he just end up getting fired? Do you think after 2, like he got him to the playoffs, but like you get embarrassed in the championship game, and then if they get embarrassed by Oklahoma back to back, I don't know. This one was kind of funny. CCRR, Mike McDaniel to Michigan. that would be funny. Stephen Ross fires him just to move him to Michigan.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely, but that would be hilarious.
Yeah, some other names that fans are throwing out there, and this is just from the fans' take. People are saying, "Oh, we should go after Matt Patricia." I don't know if Matt Patricia would go to Michigan after just beating Michigan, and he's also like next to Ryan Day. He's like the next greatest thing in Columbus right now in the state of Ohio. I don't think that would happen, right? Personally. Jed Fish definitely makes sense. I think he would be a good hire to get them back to where they want to be. He may not be the long-term solution, but I think he in the now what they need now. I think he'd be a good option. DeBoer is swinging for the fences, and if you could execute, maybe they wait until this first round to see what happens. I just don't know if Alabama wins against Oklahoma. And they're going to Indiana to play, or wherever the Indiana game is. I just don't know if he leaves, to be honest. I think he ends up staying if that happens. If he loses to Oklahoma, then he's leaving. At that point, I would say yes, he's probably leaving.
Is there a world where they buy out Bill Belichick's contract?
To go to Michigan? Yeah, they're trying to get out of scandals, not get into them.
I'm just saying. Like, is there a world?
I mean, to be honest, if Bill Belichick, okay, this is I'm sorry to bring up for people that think this is inappropriate to say, but Bill Belichick is legally kind of dating his Stafford, sort of in a weird way, because of how young she is compared. If you think about it, you know what I mean. So it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know if there's a world where they bring in Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I
No,
highly doubt it again, but it popped in my head
Yeah.
because there's been so much rumors about, and I think they're just people overreacting, but there's been
Yeah.
so much talk about his contract and the buyout in it, and him probably or maybe coming into the league for the Giants gig. Is there a world where he still buys out his contract but goes to Michigan?
Yeah, I mean,
Instead?
it's possible, but from what I understand, um, I think his goal is to get back to the NFL because that's where he wants to retire. I personally feel so. Um, and from what was reported about a month ago, there are a couple teams that are seriously interested in bringing Bill Belichick back to the NFL. So that will be interesting. Um, I could see Tennessee trying to get Bill Belichick because they need something right now. And
Ooh,
they have
Tony.
what Tony
Ooh, has Lane Kiffin signed his contract yet?
Oh, that is a
Oh,
crazy take. Going from LSU. Well, hold on. Imagine this. Let's say he hasn't signed yet, right? DeBoer goes to Michigan. That opens up Alabama, which is the one place Lane Kiffin wanted to go in the first place. So that makes sense completely. Oh man.
the report is he has not signed with LSU yet.
Mm. Did you know? I heard Florida tried to get Lane Kiffin really bad.
Yeah, I saw that the other. I think it was earlier today that came out, or it was yesterday. It was one of the two. I saw that.
Yeah, I heard they were really trying to push for him. Have they signed? Have they gotten a head coach yet? Have they brought in anybody?
Good question. I don't think so. I think they still have the inner term.
Okay, I was curious about that.
I'll double check though.
But Tony hit the bingo on for sure. Make sure you guys follow the Blitz Pickup. Those guys are awesome. Tony, I loved your guys' film breakdown talking about Jalen Wright and if he's hitting the holes right and everything. That was really cool. I actually, that was something I've been definitely wanting to see. Tony and Lewis definitely know how to break down film better than anybody else around here on YouTube or in the spaces. So definitely check out the Blitz Pickup when you get a chance. What else? We are coming up to the hour mark, Steve. This wasn't going to be the longest show. We already know that because we kind of decided to go live because of all the crazy news. I think we should save a lot of what we have for next Tuesday because we're going to have special guests and there's going to be a lot of stuff we can go over. Any final things? Anything you want to bring up?
No, I think everything else we can save for Tuesday, so we can have that nice big show.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody, I'm going to go ahead and since we're going to do the bottom line here. The bottom line for me is the fact that it is a wonderful time to be a fan of college sports, right? You're right in the thick of it. We're at the eve of the college football playoff, and all this drama is happening all over the place. Michigan, it was like Circus Soleil, but drama style. And then you have the stuff that's going on with Lane Kiffin being called a hoe only to be fired less than 24 hours later. And then you have all this crazy stuff. The guy from Michigan State who basically went through the same thing that Sharon Moore went through outside of the whole craziness of being arrested and that kind of stuff, right? That happened to him. You had the sign stealing scandal. And now we're getting right into basketball, college basketball. It is nuts. Everybody hit the like button. I'm excited. This was a lot of fun talking about this and breaking it down with you, Steve. What are your final thoughts?
I'll say, again, this is a lot of just feeling based on what we've seen and read what's going on. I think you hit it on the nose. We still need to hear from the man himself, and that will fully put everything out in the open air of what's going on. This is going to be this has already been an interesting year, and it's only going to get more interesting as the college playoffs go on, and we'll see where they go from there and what happens with Michigan over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I just think that we need to hear his side of the story, and then we have the full scope of what happened, and then we can place judgment at that point. But I do think if you are fans that live in an area that you're close to his family and everything, just understand that they didn't force him to do these things. This is the actions of one person, and that's the only person that should face judgment or needs to atone for what happened, right? Nobody else. Be respectful and just try to be classy. That's all I can say in these types of things. But anyway, till next time, everybody hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new. Please follow us at 4th and 10U. Look up our YouTube channel. I know we're live on TFTG, but come over to 4th and 10U's channel. Follow us there. You can also follow me on X or 4th and 10U's X channel, which is at 4th and 10U as well. But till next time, you all have a great night. We'll see you on Tuesday.